So now if we hit play and we start walking, we should hear the gravel sound effects once. And why is that? Pretty simple, because on event graph, we are calling this footsteps function only once. But we want to play the sound effects again, and again. So how can we do that? We will do it the same way as we did, for example, crouch check and every other function that requires to repeat itself. We will use set timer by function name. So let's just grab from here and set timer by function name. Okay, and the function name will be our footsteps. So we can just copy this name and add this function right here. We need to make sure it is looping, and for now let's just type 1 and let's see if this works. Now if I start walking, you can hear my footsteps, and that's a good thing. But we want to reset this timer when we exit our movement, so we can grab this output and clear and invalidate timer by handle. You can plug this here, get rid of this, and just do some reroute nodes. That would be helpful. And what we can also do is to grab this, clear it here, connect this to footsteps, because it will be good to just create a event for resetting the footsteps. So let's just move it here, and we will create custom event called reset footsteps timer, and we will just plug this here. We don't need to plug this in actually. Okay, so now when we press play, you can see these line traces, and you can hear that we are stepping on gravel. But when I will go deeper in the forest, you can hear that we have our forest footsteps. That's exactly what we wanted. If we will go back to the path, you will hear our gravel footsteps once again. So everything is working. But for example, for walking, it sounds pretty okay, but when we start running, something doesn't feel right because these footsteps are just playing too slow. So here we have this time. We can play around with this slightly to make these footsteps more realistic. So let's just select float and check if we are sprinting. And if we are sprinting, we want to set it to something like 0.35. If we are not sprinting, we need to make sure, oh, that's not float. We need to make sure, so we'll select float, we need to make sure if we are crouching. And if we are crouching, it'll be set to 1, and for not crouching, so just walking, it will be 0.75. But it won't work yet, because this is why we've set up this reset footsteps timer. We need to plug this into the footsteps, because every time we enter crouching or sprinting, we need to reset this footsteps timer so it will play with different speed. That's why we need to go to our sprinting. So here, after setting the max walk speed to 300 before stopping the stamina, we can make some space and we can reset footsteps timer. Now let's bring this a little bit closer. We also need to reset footsteps timer here after exiting sprinting. So let's just move this slightly further, and here let's just reset footsteps timer. And same thing with crouching. If we'll go to crouch functionality, here after setting is crouching to true, we can move these nodes slightly further, and here we can reset footsteps timer. Compile. And we also want to reset footsteps timer while when we exit crouching. So let's just move this slightly here, and let's add this reset footsteps timer. Okay, so now everything should work properly. Let's test it out. Now I'm just walking, but when I start crouching, you can see this is slightly quieter and slower. But when we enter sprinting, it's slightly louder and way faster, and it actually feels more natural. So I think we are done with our footstep sounds. The only thing that we can do is just turn off this debug. We don't need that anymore. So let's just set throw debug type to none, compile, save, and we can exit this footsteps function.